make sense.
It
right?
does
He's
not.
a deeply committed family man. He wants to stand up and do the right thing.
A deeply committed family man. What about the first family? Oh, man.
In this episode, Chuchi makes an oopsie, Bane lives up to his name, and Yaddle tries to tattle. We'll discuss Clone Wars episodes 3, 4, 3, 8, and Tales of the Jedi 4 in this edition of the 11 Parsecs podcast.
Hello, and welcome to episode 39 of the 11 Parsecs podcast. My name is Eric. I'm here with my good buddy John.
Hello.
And today we are going to be reviewing, hey, guess what? Clone Wars episodes. Oh, we do have a...
Yay, more.
We do have a Tales of Jedi episode, which is good, which I'm excited to talk about. But today we're going to be discussing Season 3, Episode 4, which is weird because we kind of jumped back in time a little bit, which is odd in the timeline, but we'll talk about that. And then we also are going to be reviewing Episode 8 in Season 3. So it's good that I think we're getting to Season 3 because I enjoy the fact that we're moving through. We're not halfway done with Clone Wars yet, but we're getting there, and it's kind of nice. John, what are you drinking?
Tonight, I am enjoying one of my favorites. It is from Sweetwater.
Okay.
I know you've seen it around. It is their Hazy Double IPA.
I do enjoy that. It's a good beer.
It is so good.
It is a good beer. It really is. That's one of my... that one's... So we're in Atlanta, so I can't really speak to the rest of the Southeast or even the rest of the nation or the rest of the world for all our world listeners. I can't say that it's easy to get a hold of, but it seems to be somewhat available around town-ish. Maybe the wing places and stuff like that. But actually buying it in the grocery store is pretty easy, so which is nice.
Yeah.
But we're just lucky because we live next to Sweetwater. It's a great beer. I'm drinking a Stone Vengeful Spirit IPA. I think
I've seen that one.
I bought it I bought it as a part of the Tiki Bar pack, 12-pack.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it was really neat. This is the first time I'd seen it too. And it's got 4 different beers. There's one that's like a pepper beer, which I'll probably try on the next podcast just to say, just to say I tried it. But this one looks pretty good. Vengeful Spirit IPA. You ready to pop?
I am.
Let's do it.
Is there a countdown here? Or?
Yeah, I'll give you a countdown. 3, 2, 1.
Cerveza.
And I'm going to pour in the glass. So this is let's see here. I think it's the 3rd summer that we've done this podcast. And we're on episode 39, folks. We summer's travel season for us. We're always out and about. We're going to be, gone for some parts of the summer. You're gone for some parts of the summer. I'm gone for some parts of the summer.
Yep.
And, so we slow down a little bit on the cadence. We're going to try to jump back into it to where we're getting the weekly things going. We're on episode 39 tonight. We're in the middle of season 3 of Clone Wars. I'm going to make a suggestion toward the end of the podcast, just to offer us a little bit of a newer vibe, a little bit of a refresh. We're still going to continue on the timeline. For those of you that don't know, if you're just listening to this podcast for the first time, there's a list that we found on Reddit. It is chronological order of all the Star Wars canon. So Star Wars canon is anything that Disney sanctions as canon after they purchased Star Wars. So they purchased Star Wars, like 6 years ago, something like that. No, more than that.
More than that now.
Yeah, 8 maybe years ago. But basically what they did was they said, hey, everything before this, we're going to call legends, which is still valuable material. Still stuff we like. But everything before this doesn't matter anymore. We're going to say that the main movies matter, the Skywalker trilogies, the ones that you've seen, all through your life. And any new stories that we start doing going forward matter. They're the actual ones that are part of the Star Wars universe. And me and John decided to get together and a while back and said, hey, we're going to go through every single bit of this canon, and we're going to do it in chronological order. Chronological order being the timeline inside the actual story versus, when it came out, blah, blah, blah. So we've been doing this for a while. We're in the middle of probably the biggest C, I'm going to say, in the timeline, which is the Clone Wars, which is a epic animated series that went on for, 10 seasons, I think. I think it was 8 or 9. and then they added a 10th season to just kind of finalize everything. So there's about 20 episodes in each of these seasons. We do 2 to 3 episodes podcast. Takes us a little while to get through them. I mean, we're sprinkling other things in here just to kind of make it fun for us, so we're not continuously just watching the Clone Wars series. But that being said, this was a little bit of a weird week because we went from, instead of so once we entered season 3, we did, I want to say, episodes 1, 2, and then we jumped to 7, 8, 9, and then now, and this is all, like I said, chronological order, we're jumping back to episode 4, which was Spheres of Influence. So we've got 2 episodes to review tonight, episodes 4 and episodes 8 of season 3. Episode 4 of season 3, Sphere of Influence. What did you think, John? This was kind of a weird episode to me. I don't know. I don't know. But
it was very weird.
It was.
First off, you start back in the Senate chamber, and you're like, "Yay, more politics! We need more politics in Star Wars." And so that just, you don't have a lot of hope that it's going to be very interesting at that point.
Exactly. That's a great quote.
But it does speak to, this seems to be a constant refrain in Star Wars, that the wheels of democracy move far too slowly.
Yeah, I think it's the theme of Clone Wars, honestly. I mean, you talk about having the clones and all this, battling and everything, but it's just the fact that it just shows you how terrible the Republic is.
Dysfunctional. Yeah, just outright dysfunctional. It's far too large to be manageable, to be functional. And that seems undeniable. And that doesn't mean that you immediately go to a tyrannical dictator, but it does make me think.
Yeah.
What are they trying to say?
You understand a little bit why. Not that you agree with it, it's just that you understand a little bit why. So basically, and this is a little bit confusing because the last time that we talked about this race of people was 3 podcasts ago, I think. Senator Rhea Chichuli and Ahsoka go down to help the Chancellor of the planet, whose 2 daughters have been kidnapped. And this starts off super slow. We get Seth Green in there, which is kind of neat. We get Seth Green's voice. He's trying to do this like weird Australian accent too, which is kind of odd. But basically, he's the son. So the chairman of the planet, his son, and his 2 daughters are visiting the Senate. The 2 daughters get kidnapped. One of the neat things for me is I will say that it was done by Greedo, which was kind of cool.
Yes,
because we
sure. No, that's in my notes. Greedo?
Yeah, we hadn't seen Greedo at all. We hadn't seen Greedo since episode 4. But yeah, I shouldn't say we haven't seen him since 4. I haven't seen him. Episode 4 in the timeline, of course, is later on. That being said, though, we haven't. This is supposed to be Greedo's introduction, I guess you could call it, and another weird guy that stutters a bunch. I'm not sure. It was kind of odd. But basically, they kidnap both of the senators, or not the senator, the chairman's children. And one of them is taking to a Trade Federation ship that is blocking the planet. One of them is taking to Hut, or Tatooine, but I think it's supposed to be kind of like a Hut safe house type thing. And so basically the 2 people split up. The son and the actual chairman go off to find one of the daughters. And Ahsoka, who kind of volunteers to do this, and Senator Chichuri go to the other Trade Federation ship, and they're trying to find the other daughter. Yeah. Let me say this: the last 5 minutes of this episode were by far the most interesting parts. Do you agree with that?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's
yeah.
Yeah, it's a hunt and find mission. They both figure out a little bit of Sherlock Holmesing going on. Maybe they both figure out where these people are being kept. Some antics arise. They end up rescuing both of them. Yeah, so the last 5 minutes of this one is really just more along the lines of let's play the story out. Kind of boring.
It's played out so straight that, first of all, what's the guy's name? Papanoida? Papanoida?
Yeah,
the
Chairman Papanoida.
Yeah, he is like this totally kick-ass guy to the point where I'm really suspicious. It's like, is he actually behind all of this? Because he came across like he has no fear at all. I'm gonna go in there and get my daughters, and like he was trying to do this, 3D chess move thing, and then that turned out not to be the case. It's just he just just played out straight, and it was a little odd.
The gunfight inside the safe house was really cool. He was like double barrel, like blasting away at the dudes. Like it was legit. Like you could tell even his son is like one gun. Like, oh my god, look at that.
I was just again. It was they really had no trouble, and so I kept waiting for some kind of twist, something. And no, it's just they go and get him, no problem.
Well, there is a
very, very, very straight.
Little bit of a twist at the end. Well, I should say twist, but basically the person that was in charge of the blockade was not aware that the kidnapped daughter was on board the Trade Federation ship.
Sure.
And he tries to blame Sib. I forget the guy's name, but he tries to blame him that this was like this kind of like guy that was going rogue, doing his own thing, kidnapping the daughter. We would never approve of this, but of course, I mean, I'm sure it's all part of the master plan. But yeah, it was. I'm not gonna say filler, but it was not moving the story.
Well, I was just about to ask what does this episode contribute to our understanding of anything?
No, nothing. I agree with that. Nothing.
Right. And in fact, it's confusing because Anakin says right at the beginning, the Jedi can't get involved. This is a local police. Seriously? The Jedi can't get involved. That's a first.
Also, too, he's very eager to send her off, too, Ahsoka. Like, he's like, oh, yeah,
sure.
Yeah, you can go, you're fine. I'll convince everybody back here at the Jedi Council that everything's all good.
It's like they had to have him say something so that you don't have a legion of Jedi, swarming the trade separatist people to find these high-ranking children, and it just really screws everything up. It makes no sense.
So do you remember the episode that we watched and we saw these people fighting the kind of like the ice, what were they called? I can't remember the name of the actual species, but the ice barbarian kind of guys that were...
I vaguely remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then the acting chairman, I think, is the one that dies, or the general is the one that dies. Remember, he gets like a spear through him or whatever on the ski swift thing, like just right.
Was that the guy that wanted to wipe him out or something like that?
Yeah, and the senator is the one that kind of comes to the aid and says, "Hey, we don't have to do this, blah blah blah." And now she's a senator, kind of follows the Padme path. I don't know. I'm torn. I don't feel like it's a filler episode. Like I'll call out filler episodes. I'm fine calling out filler episodes, but
it really feels like a filler.
Does it? Do you think it does? Like I don't know. I think it. Yep. All right, fair enough. We'll call it a filler.
Speaking of filler, so the next episode.
Yeah, let's talk about the next episode. ...
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, so speaking of the next episode, would be episode 8 of season 3, Evil Plans. What'd you think about this guy?
It's all right. Again, the characters are acting weird. Why is R2 so suddenly careless? Just like, bar, I'm going to go to the bar.
So
why?
It is the weirdest scene, I think, that I've seen so far in Clone Wars, where R2-D2, who's, I don't know the bot's thoughts, but usually very analytical. That like sales bot guy
committed to the mission. I mean, he's dedicated.
Totally is.
No nonsense.
He has done everything under the sun in these.
He
movies.
loses his freaking
mind. And
mind.
he's just like a spa. Yeah. Hell yeah! And he just wheels himself in there. Yeah, I don't know. This was a weird episode. I even from the very offset where Padme's like talking about all the different things that she needs, the outfit she's gonna wear. And Anakin's like, "Oh, woman, we'll be fine. I'll take care of everything." Like, it's just a weird episode. I don't.
Yeah, it's off.
And also too, like the last 10 minutes is pretty cool. Like to me, it feels like that's the main part of what they wanted, the message that they wanted to give, moving the story along or the entire story along. But the first 20 minutes, you're just like, "What are you talking about?" And the weird thing is like I saw Cad Bane, and I'm like, "Oh, awesome, we got Cad Bane in here," and even. He plays kind of a weird character in this. He's just kind of like, scrub the droids and let them go back. And I'm like, no, dude, you scrub them and then you impound them. Like, what do you, like you're Cad Bane. Like, what are you doing? Like, this is really weird. I don't know. Weird episode.
The one notable thing I will say is the merchant who's like the squid thing.
Oh, yeah.
That was an interesting design because they give him his body like a cowboy hat and mustache, and he's like a squid.
Yeah.
Did you pick up on that?
Yeah, and then also the guy that's selling the what was it? I keep wanting to say jackfruit, but I don't know if that was the name of it. The
George some kind of fruit.
Yeah,
J something
fruit. The J something fruit was sold by a guy that was like Watto. And he's like shifty dealing, like blah 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 blah, and then that,
of course,
and then the other robot, which looks pristine almost compared to all the other robots in the episode, flies up behind him and starts talking about, "Hey, don't you want to go to the spa?" And again, I can't emphasize how much the R2 wheeling off to the spa is the weirdest thing I've ever seen for that character.
It really threw me off entirely. It does not fit that character, and it almost sounds like nitpicking, but it ticks me off.
No, it does. It's a very weird character thing, and then also. The fact that their brains are wiped whenever they go back up to the party, and the party is kind of going well, and I don't know. All right, so let's say I definitely will say that the second episode 8, was definitely more filler than the episode 4.
Sure,
it didn't move that much along except for the end where we did learn about Cad Bane being hired to go rescue Zero the Hutt for the Hutt families, but that's about it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a lot of nothing to get there.
Yeah, a nothing burger. I don't know. Let's move on to Tales of the Jedi. Tales of the Jedi. What did you think of this episode?
I thought it was really neat to see that moment where he deletes Camino from the archives.
Dude. This was like my favorite. So Tales of the Jedi has been like this really weird outlier for me, and that I didn't think it was going to be all that big. I thought it was going to be like little backstories that were kind of like, because you see like the trailer, you see like the Ahsoka as a baby, you know, that first episode, and you see all these kind of things that are like, oh, this is just going to be like this kind of backfill story, which is like cool, but you get to see it, you know, say that you've seen it. This episode was a pivotal episode.
Pivotal. I wrote that in my notes. Pivotal
episode in the entire arc of this universe.
Like, well, that again, and that's why the very next note says, just think if she had gotten away.
Yeah. Yep.
Everything changes.
Everything under the sun changes. So for those who don't know, we're talking about episode 4 of the Tales of the Jedi. This is quick summary. Basically, Dooku's already bad. He's working for Palpatine. Yaddle, who we haven't seen since like the Christmas special, like in '84. I take that back. We saw Yaddle, I think, in one of the prequel movies on the Jedi Council or something like that. So for those that don't know, and I don't know the name of the species. I don't think anybody knows the name of the species now. Think about it. But Grogu, Yoda, and Yaddle are the only 3 members of that species, I guess, that we've seen in the Star Wars universe. And Yaddle's been around, though, since I want to say the '84 Christmas special or something. Yaddle's been around for a while. I don't know. I remember Yaddle from the '80s. I remember being like, oh, that's another Yoda. It's a Yaddle. She's voiced by Bryce Dallas Howard, I think, if I'm not right.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's like a she's a big pivotal character. Like, this is a very big pivotal moment, and she's a full-fledged Master Jedi, I believe, at this point. And basically, she goes and follows Dooku, who is going to meet the Emperor, and finds out that Dooku is kind of the root of all this evil. This is a hugely pivotal episode, and she doesn't want to fight. She's trying to, I think, get away to go tell everybody else that, holy crap, we have been missing this the entire time. And lo and behold, she has to fight Dooku, and Dooku's pretty brutal about it. I mean, you know, there's a couple of scenes in here where you think she's dead, she's not, and then you're like, oh man, at the very end of it, it's a good episode. And again, this is really like the kind of like the Anakin being rescued from the lava type episode to me. This is a very pivotal point for Dooku becoming, you know, the lower Sith. I mean, this is, I don't know. I was kind of amazed that this was in this series. I mean, this was like really, really good. Very good voice acting, very good drawings. I don't know. I was super surprised by this.
The one question I had about it was, why did she lift the door that she was trapped under? Why did she lift the door right away? She knows they're right there.
Yeah. I do.
Why, just chill out. Just wait. Right?
Yeah, there was no...
And then they'll leave.
There shouldn't have been any hubris for her. Like, she could have easily just, like, sat there for a while, then got out. Yeah, it was very weird. I don't...
Because, well, at first I thought, okay, well, you know, she's got crushed. She's dead. She's smushed. But no, that's not the case. She's just under the, you know, like wedged in the door frame or something. And she lifts this big, heavy, massive door, and that takes everything out of her, so she has nothing left to fight with.
Literally falls down. Like, literally falls down in front of the two of your biggest enemies that you've ever heard of in your entire life.
I don't... I mean, was she claustrophobic or something? Just chill out.
Just fall the other way. Fall out and just sit and run away back to your ship.
Well, now, once you've exerted yourself to 110%, you're not thinking clearly, but you didn't have to do that. You could have just chill, okay?
It was good. It was a very good episode. I highly recommend it. Untitled Jedi, Season 1, Episode 4. I mean, this was... I still am just amazed that this was inserted into this series. It's such a pivotal role. Actually, I've been amazed so far with all of Tales of the Jedi with Dooku's movement over to the dark side, or at least the way that we've seen him. Well, let me say this: the way that they want the audience to understand why he moved over to the dark side, and and it was really good. The first two episodes, the one with the machine and the senator's son, and then the one where they both fly off to find the murderer of the Jedi. Like, those were really good in showing. This is why he is the way he is. This one was just the pivotal moment. Like, this was literally what he had to do, to become the lower Sith. I mean, this is, I don't know. I was really, really amazed by this episode.
Yeah, very, very solid. Again, it's how long? Like 11, 12 minutes? So it's not...
Yeah, about 13, I think.
13 minutes? It's so satisfying. It's a little, I think we said this before, right? Little vignettes, little windows in time to, in this case, a little bit of, not behind the scenes, but if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it is.
With the deletion of Camino thing.
Yeah. It's
just, it's a little peek, a little sneak peek. And in this case, a truly pivotal moment. She can't get away. She can't, that's where I start to wonder, what? No, it's not worth it. But I was going to say, having recently watched the Spider-Man verse thing, you get into the multiverse, right? Had she gotten away, the what if?
Yeah,
what
totally.
If she had gotten away, how things would have been so radically different. But that goes nowhere. Just a solid episode. I really enjoy that, and I also really enjoy, like other things we've done, the really tight runtime. It really is rewarding when they do it right.
Yeah, and there's no fluff. There's scene after scene. They have to get a message across. They get it across very, very well. There might be more in that 13 minutes than I've seen in, and I'm not joking with you, 10 hours of Clone Wars. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I mean, Clone Wars is here to be a week-to-week episodic, serial, kind of neat thing that you get to watch, and enjoy. But as for movement of storyline, that 13 minutes may be the most compact 13 minutes we've seen so far, in my opinion.
Well, so this is tangenting a little bit, but bear with me. So you have the competing interests of old school television, where you have to crank out 26 episodes in a season, okay, and the new school of, what, I've got 11 episodes of story to tell. So you're going to get 11 episodes every 3 years or something. But they're really, really good.
Yeah.
Or I've got 8 episodes of story. Deal with it. So it's kind of everything's a trade-off. So if you give me 26 episodes and 5 of them, or sometimes in some series even more than that, maybe approaching half, are true filler. Real, things happen, and then at the end of the episode, you reset the board back the way it was. Total filler. You don't really get character insight. You don't get plot development. It's just a thing that happened. But you get 26 episodes every week, or every other week, or whatever, versus I only get 8 episodes. They're really good episodes, but I only get 8 of them, and then I have to wait a year or 2 or 3. To the point where I forget the show existed.
Do you think that's binge watching on a new network level, or do you think that's so? Whenever I think of this, I think of going back to my favorite series, which was Lost of all time. During like seasons 3 and 4, there were like 20x episodes of that. Honest to goodness, 10 were complete. 10 to maybe 15 were complete filler. Like they would introduce a new character at the beginning of that show, and that show would have an ending of that character, and that was it. And it was still good to me, though. But I wonder if it was because it was such a new idea during a network series compared to now, where it's like you get to the meat of it because you are not going to keep people's attention. I'm not saying everybody has ADD. I mean, I'm just saying like it's like ADHD.
Well,
I'm just saying
we can argue about the TikTok effect too.
We totally can, and like the serotonin hits and all that kind of stuff. I'm just saying that like, how do I say this? With Tales of the Jedi, Disney has realized that if you can make an indelible mark within 13 minutes, that's way better than stretching something out to 25, even though you may have whatever, I guess, profits or I don't. Disney Plus, it doesn't matter because you pay for the membership and you're done. Yeah. But I'm just saying like they've jumped on that, like what you said, the TikTok, the YouTube type situation where it's just like, give it to me now, move the story, and I personally don't know that that's bad. I
absolutely don't say it's bad.
Yeah, like
we talked before about what is it, the Love, Death, and Robots?
Oh
right?
yeah,
those are all generally short, but they're wildly different. Some of them are like 6 minutes, and some are maybe 20.
Yeah,
but generally in the teens, early teens, 11, 12, or 13 minutes. Yeah. And there's another show I can't put my finger on right now that's also like that. How long were the Visions? Were they?
About that time. Yeah. It was, to be fair though, we also have to say that we're comparing animated to non-animated in some instances, and animated like not only does it pay to be succinct in your story for animated, but it also pays to be succinct in not paying people to animate for 30 minutes versus 20 minutes. You know what I mean? So it's like a little bit.
What was that? You made me think of this. What was that service that launched? It was supposed to be 10-minute or less, where you could watch it on the subway.
Yes. Oh,
it starts with a Q. Quibi.
And they failed. Like, well, I think that part of that.
They failed so massively.
They failed massively. But number one, I think that, and this is just my opinion of it, they overspent to begin with. On titles and all sorts of stuff, and they had tons of investment. They spent all the investment, but then B also too. That was over COVID, which you can't plan for that either. I mean, I'm not saying they would have made it out of a non-COVID world, but I'm just saying, it was just the worst thing to
I'm wondering. Where I'm going with that is, I'm wondering if it works. It's much better with animation. That sort of story.
Yeah, totally.
There's a certain type of story that works with a 10-minute or 12-minute runtime. And maybe it's because that's what we've seen, so I'm tainted. But it seems like the type of stories that work are Love, Death, and Robots, Visions, Tales of the Jedi. They are science fiction. They introduce you to maybe not an entire world, although in the case of Love, Death, and Robots, they did, and it was really impressive.
Yeah,
because you have to lay all the groundwork, you have to get everybody up to speed, super quickly, and they do, and I'm always impressed by that. Now, in the case of Tales of the Jedi, you don't have to get everybody up to speed. I know what a Jedi is, but you still have to tell me where the hell we are in the timeline and who the characters are, and what they're trying to accomplish, and that's also really good when you to see it well done is just so satisfying.
Well, I think that Love, Death, and Robots pulls a lot from like anime storytelling, because anime, I mean, it's an expensive art to do to begin with. So not saying all anime are like 20 minutes, but I'm just saying like that's like the perfect like capsule to incorporate a given story in, and they're not as serialized, or in general, anime is not as serialized as some of the Visions and Visions 2 and Tales of the Jedi are. But actually, let me take that back. I'll step back a second. Visions 1 was very serialized, right? Like we were seeing non-canon stories that were complete ideas and formations of stuff that were from a particular artist or a particular company, that type of thing. Visions 2, same thing. We haven't talked about it yet, but we'll get there eventually. Tales of the Jedi, though, this seems contiguous. Like we're seeing Dooku turn. Like I feel like for the last at least 3 episodes, the Ahsoka episode at the beginning of episode 1 was kind of.
I was gonna say that bucks your trend is the Ahsoka.
Yeah, the Ahsoka. But let's say every other episode though, we're literally seeing Dooku switch. I mean, I feel like that's the core of this series. I don't. It's not. I thought going into it that it was going to be serialized. This is a small bit. Go. You have 15 minutes, 13 minutes, whatever it is, to tell a story that hasn't been told before. I don't think it is. I think the goal of this series that we've watched so far is to tell Dooku's story of why he turned.
I did sort of think about how, wait, this is, another Doku story. Didn't really click though, and so I am very curious to see going forward if your theory, that it basically turned into a Tales of the Doku, if that comes to fruition. I would not be at all surprised if we don't see him again.
Oh, you're going the opposite way. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, really, would that really surprise you if Tales of the Jedi 5? How many are there? 6?
I don't know.
6 or 8?
I think it's 8.
6. I think there's 6.
Probably
8. Anyway, going forward, Tales of the Jedi 5.
I can tell you right now,
but
but just because of our conversation, I don't want to go look at the next one. So
sure. If they move on to something else, I'm not going to be surprised by that. I'm actually a little surprised that they've focused so far, like you say, 3 episodes on Dooku.
So wait, do you think that this one that we just watched was the penultimate? Like, because he has turned now, and we know what happens after this?
I don't see that this series has any obligation to finish out an arc or anything. It's just a little window in time.
Okay.
And the window shows what the window shows.
Fair enough. And that'd be great to me. Yeah. Oh, okay.
I would actually, I think part of me would be more satisfied if they moved on to other things. In the same, much grander scale, in the same way that, for God's sakes, leave the Skywalkers alone, move on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You
don't need to keep going back to the same characters. Now, if you do, and like this episode, it's fascinating, it's interesting. What a pivotal moment. Fantastic. That's great. But if you just keep going back just to go back to that same character, which is effectively fan service.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Well, I mean,
show me something else. Entertain me.
I'm trying to get through the Skywalker movies though right now. There's nothing for Dooku after this. I mean, there is the fight scene that happens in episode 2. But
you don't know that.
I don't.
You're saying he didn't do anything from this episode until episode 2?
He has solidified himself as Palpatine's second at this point, right?
Okay.
What?
You still got to go buy groceries. I mean, there's things you could watch or watch him do.
I would go watch Dooku buy groceries.
Yeah.
That tomato looks great to me.
That's a spot on.
It has
spot on Dooku impression.
It has
right
a very I don't know. I don't know.
It has a very tennis.
The varnish still attached. I don't know. I just can't think of anything else pivotal that I can remember inside the Star Wars universe that Dooku still has left to do besides the fight scene. Like I can't.
Hey, you remember how you used like a couple years ago? You wouldn't shut up about it. You kept saying, "I want to see more about how Ahsoka confronted like this super tiger when she was a little baby."
Yes,
remember how you wouldn't shut up about that?
I did. It was really weird.
Yeah,
because nobody believed me. Everybody was like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah. Point being, they can tell stories. That's what they do.
I agree.
They tell stories, and they can show us, Dooku. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what he does, but that's the point. I don't have to know. Just show me. Entertain me.
Fair enough. You pay your Disney Plus. You deserve it. All right, John.
That's right.
So good segue. What is entertaining you now? We're out of the Star Wars portion of this podcast. Let's get into some geekery. What are you watching right now?
So,
what are you enjoying? Help me out.
The ones that I want to mention are, have you heard of Invasion? No.
Wait. The original Apple or Secret Invasion, the new Marvel?
Right. No, this I made these notes before Secret Invasion came out. I have not watched that yet, so I'm not going to talk about that. This is Invasion. Is it on? It's on Apple. Yeah, it's on Apple. Do you know that series?
Amazing series. Yes, I loved it.
Did you know it was only one season?
No, I thought they were making a second season.
Well, they may be, but my point is that it's only been one season so far. I started it because I agree with our friend William that you need to get 2 or 3 seasons in, and now I'm going to commit to you, and I'm going to watch.
Invasion Season 1 was a great series. I will go on record.
I don't know if I'd say great. I really good.
Whoa.
Really good.
Really
good.
All right, let's talk about this. So to be fair, I think I finished it up probably over a year ago, so my memory may be a little rusty. But what did you find that you did not like? So since since this show's been out for at least a year, we're gonna have some spoilers here.
Yeah.
So don't. So if you want to watch this fresh off the, not having anything going in, please pause and listen back in like 10 minutes because we're gonna talk spoilers here because this came out in 2021, I think.
No, it did not.
Yeah, it did. It came out toward the beginning of COVID.
Well, that explains why I thought they had a couple seasons under their belts, and that's why I was going to pick it up. I was finally going to commit to it.
We'll do some magic.
So when I hit the end of season 1, I'm like, wait, that's it? Holy crap. And I'm actually struggling right now to remember how the season ended. So
I remember exactly how the season ended. It was
tell.
Awesome.
We waved off all the spoiler people, so yeah, go ahead. How did it end again?
Okay, so the very last scene of season 1, if I remember right, again, 2021, almost 2 years ago. And I've watched a lot of sci-fi since then. So the end of season 1 is everybody thought that the aliens were dead. Because if you remember right, the kid had the seizure.
Yeah.
And some people think that he killed the aliens. A lot of other people think that the U.S. Army or the Japanese and the U.S. Army sent nukes up and killed the mothership. Which if I remember right, they do show a scene where it's crashed in the Brazilian jungle at the very end of the season.
Could be, sure.
Yeah, they show a scene where it's like there's a bunch of helicopters flying, and then it's like this massive. I mean,
right.
Ship
crashed
in the middle of the Amazon or somewhere.
It's coming back to me.
Yeah, so
keep talking.
Yeah. So that's done, and nobody understands why all the aliens literally just stopped moving. Like they all just died, and everybody's celebrating, like everybody's going crazy. And then the Japanese girl, I forget her name, the communications specialist girl,
right,
like she's listening to a signal and something sounds weird, and then out of nowhere, the U.S. Army guy that flew home, that made it home, he's sitting on the beach with his wife, I think. Yeah, he's sitting on the beach. Yeah, he's sitting on the beach with his wife. And they both look up, and there's this like absolutely massive spaceship. Like,
got it.
Absolutely, like not like something that would like tower over like no lie, like a fourth of the east coast of the U.S. Like it was this massive spaceship, and everybody's like, "Oh shit, here we go." And that's the end of the season 1, and that's where season 2, I'm assuming, is going to start. Is that they called for backup, and backup's here.
Okay. Thank you for that because I had really forgotten all of that. But it came back. So, yes, a decent cliffhanger, and I go to start season 2 and it's not there. So frustrated.
So I remember reading at one point, and this was probably a year or two ago, that they had started working on season 2. And I don't know whether that was filming. I don't know whether that was writing. I don't know what all that entailed. But I haven't heard anything since then. So I'm starting to wonder if there is going to be a season 2 because Apple's had some cuts, or Apple Plus had some cuts. Yeah, I don't know. That would be that would suck if that didn't formulate because that was a pretty. You said like you didn't like it as much as I did.
I'm actually taken aback that you are this enthusiastic about it. I thought it was solid. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was very good. I thought that there were some definite unbelievable parts. Or not, the whole thing's unbelievable. But I'm just saying there were some definite like weird writing parts, like Seizure Kid I didn't get, and then also too there was a really big unbelievable part where I want to say like episode 5 or 6 where Seizure Kid makes it up the rock wall in the quarry that they've crashed in the bus, and then everybody's like, "Hey, we can do this too," and I'm like, "Dude, that is like a 50-foot wall of rock." And everybody's like, "Oh yeah, we could climb this up." And I'm like, "No, that's not real." Like it's just like I don't know. There were some weird parts in there, and the whole like bully character kid. Like I was like, "Oh, this dude's just this is." Just
it was a little over the top.
Yeah, exaggerated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but still, it was good. I enjoyed the show itself. I enjoyed the take on the aliens that they were.
Impervious. I mean, they're like unkillable.
Not unkillable, but just different than what you normally think an alien would look like. Like I don't know, it was just kind of odd.
The way they moved around was I thought that was properly creepy. You know, like they shoot out the points, like they walk on points.
Yeah.
That was nice. I actually deeply appreciated how they were not explaining everything in the early episodes.
Yeah, totally.
Because
I agree
you're
with that.
there with the characters and they don't have any idea what's going on.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So you would not know what the hell is going on. And I was like really into that. I drag it out as much as
Okay, I'm starting to remember
as it makes sense.
I'm starting to remember more about the show too. The doctors. Well, she wasn't a doctor. She was like she had trained medically, but she was like a house mom and she still had her doctor knowledge. That character, or let me take that back. The husband's character was super unbelievable. Like he had found like the
Really?
Yeah, he had found like he would
He
found
was super jerk. I mean, he was a total asshole.
I totally agree. That's what made him unbelievable. Like he was like so like because I remember like they were like leaving to get out of town from the aliens, and he's like, I found somebody else. I'm sorry. And then I don't know. It was just that was weird.
You've never tasted the forbidden love.
No, stop
Eric.
it.
I think you're.
Stop it.
When you find seriously, I mean that's how he's so over the top jerk. But they kind of explain it because he knocked her up. She's she's his true love, not this person that apparently he had to marry. Or I'm just filling in details here. But
with the two kids that he loves,
she's carrying his kid.
No,
she's carrying his kid.
No, she's like an Instagram food influencer or something stupid. I remember it was this. I was sitting there like, what was going on here?
But she's preggers with this child.
Oh no, this is terrible. Like I remember watching it being like, okay, she's gonna be like some kind of Instagram person. Oh yeah, she does food, and I'm just like, oh, this can't be happening. And then he's like, yeah, I was gonna leave you like next week or something. And I'm like, number one. Like you do you, man. I mean, if you're gonna leave your wife for this, whatever. It's stupid, but whatever. You do your thing. But telling her when aliens are attacking and you're trying to get out of town that you're planning on leaving her, I was like, this is.
I'm really surprised. I have a very different take on this. He was trying to justify why he was acting the way he was acting.
Do you mean the fact that he was like slamming? I remember he was like hitting his hand on the door, like "Take me, leave the kids."
Yeah.
Oh my god, that unbelievable character, unbelievable character.
That moment that you're describing right there, where he was like, "You screw this, I'm out of here. Take me, get me away from these people." That did push the boundary of, would someone really do that?
No.
But then later, when you realize that he's trying to get to his pregnant mistress, it kind of made sense.
It does
He's
not.
a deeply committed family man. He wants to stand up and do the right thing.
A deeply committed family man. What about the first family? Oh man, that was. I know you're being sarcastic here. I understand this, but I'm just saying, like that was really to me like, what is this character doing? And then she has like the romance with the other doctor at some point too, or some other doctor in the hospital, or whatever. And I was just like, oh, this is just that. I appreciated that view of the situation. That is one thing that show really did really well, though. It set up multiple views of a situation that happens across the world at the same time, and that was actually a pretty good. I don't know, the way that they did that was pretty well, in my opinion. I thought that was pretty good.
The points you're making about the characters and unbelievability, that's getting to why I said it was good. It was really good. Yeah. Not great, but it was good.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. It was good. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I wanted another season, and so that tells you something.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, and also too, I think that if I remember right, that was 2021. That was one of the first big productions Apple's did. So I wonder if subsequent seasons will not have the budget that that one had.
That's going to be rough. I was sure like that.
It really is, because and not to say that the effects on that show were amazing, but they were still decent. Like they were believable. And I think that if you go another level down because you don't have the budget, it may not be believable. You know what I mean? Like, or not as believable.
Well, no, you should go at that point. You should go all the way to B movie status and have puppets. Like, no, the aliens.
Like literally, you see the guy's little hand moving inside the puppet.
Yes, goes full on B movie.
I'm an alien. Hi, and he shoots the little dagger out, stabs the guy in the back of the neck. Yeah. So all right. So have you been watching Silo?
I wasn't sure if we wanted to discuss that because have you finished, Silo?
I finished it. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, this is true spoilers because that just came out.
Do we want to talk about spoilers? I think with this one, since it's so new, especially I think the last one came out like last week. I think we should dance around the ending. Or
I don't want to dance around. I want to postpone it to like the next podcast so we can talk about it then. I don't want to. I don't want to dance around
podcast
spoilers.
is like a week away. We can't. If we're gonna do it now.
That's plenty of time. Or so you want to just full on spoil it up?
No, we'll wait. Yeah.
Because it's all about, it's all about that.
Okay,
but it's mostly about
no.
way it
goes. No. Let's not talk about it.
Fine.
So I got.
You're proving my point.
I got one more season, or one more show that I want to talk about. Season 2, James May's O Cook. Have you watched it?
I have not. No, sorry.
John,
I've been busy.
You.
It's a cooking show.
You made me shashuska. You made me shashuska off that show. It was delicious shashuska. But you made it off of that first season.
Yes, correct. Yeah. I forgot about that.
And you have not watched season 2.
It's in my list. Jeez.
All right. Well,
I have something that I'm sure you've watched that I just got around to recently.
all right, let's go.
Venom.
I have not watched Venom.
And what?
I have not watched either of them.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, sorry,
I
man.
thought I was like the last guy in the,
I haven't
last
watched
guy
it.
standing. I finally got around to watching him. Okay, well, so much for that then.
I like Tom Hardy. I really do. Tom Hardy is a great actor. I've enjoyed anything that he's been in with Christopher Nolan. I've loved all that stuff. But Venom, I just didn't.
So here's what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
You need to watch those movies.
Both of them?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, why not?
Yeah, I'm not saying
I
you shouldn't.
think I wasn't prepared. I should have been prepared to compare and contrast 1 and 2, but I'm going to say that yes, watch both. The first one certainly was, 'cause for some reason I had a very negative impression of Venom, that it was, well, maybe not very negative.
Yeah, why?
But a less than positive impression of Venom, that it didn't do well, it was not well received, did not get good reviews, and people were like, eh.
So
I think that was wrong. I think that was my misunderstanding. It's a solid film. It's a solid superhero movie.
So is that because it was at the time that Venom 1 came out, it was Fox versus Disney?
Perhaps. Does the average person care about that? I think it did do. It did well enough to get a sequel.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So, and I went back and looked, the ratings really aren't that bad. They're pretty positive. So, I think I just had a impression of the Venom series, and I'm glad that I went back finally and watched them, because they were quite enjoyable flicks.
Okay, cool. I will watch them. Yeah, yeah. I've never. How do I say this? Like, I've never not wanted to watch them. I've just never wanted to watch them. I don't know. It's like one of those.
I've always wanted to watch them. I just didn't want to pay a lot of money to rent them.
Yeah, but they're streaming now, right? Or are they on Disney? I guess because Disney bought Fox.
They are not on Disney. I did have to pay, but it was like a sale, like $2.
Okay, it's not bad. It's not bad at all.
Not bad at all. I mean, it's a feature film. It's long and everything.
let me...
And plus, he pops up. This is what really kicked my interest. He pops up right at the end credits of No Way Home.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So they're bringing it together. They're getting the band back together.
Yeah,
so.
they're merging the Fox. They know what they're doing. That was the whole point of buying them. X-Men, here we go. I'm all for it. I love my X-Men.
Yeah.
So, hope you enjoyed podcast number 39. John, how was your beer?
It was delicious, as always. Thank you, Sweetwater.
Mine was just kind of good. Like, usually I'm like...
Wait, what did you drink again?
It is the Stone Brewing.
Oh, right. I've seen that. I don't know what that tastes like.
But I'm going to say, and usually I don't rate beers bad because I like all beers. It was okay. It wasn't a bad beer.
Is it like a crispy IPA or
not
hazy?
at all.
No,
okay. It wasn't even hazy. It was like a middle of the road. Like, I don't really know how to describe it. Like, it was just kind of there.
We are so spoiled for choice.
Oh, we totally are.
It's just a regular delicious IPA. No big deal.
Yeah, it is. I'm sure other people are like, "Oh, this is the best beer ever." I'm sure if you go on Untapped, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, this is great." It was good. Didn't blow me away. But, it was good. All right, anyways. All right, so this is episode 39. We had episode 40 coming up. Well, not disappointment for my beer. Episode 40 coming up next. I think we may have to get some Chimay. I think, was it episode 20 or 25 that we drank the Chimay? I think it was 20.
You're right. You're asking way too much of me.
I know I am. I think it was 20. So I'm going to get some Shumei for the next episode.
It sounds like it would be a 20 kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it was like every 20th episode. I was like, oh, I had it in my mind. I was like, hey, every 20th episode we're going to do Shumei. We're going to do a really good beer. So we'll get some Shumei for the next episode. Next episode is episode 40. We're going to be reviewing, and this is really weird. Oh, Clone Wars episode 22 from season 1, Hostage Crisis. So again, like I said,
very strange.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to the front end of this podcast, we are going on a completely weird timeline based on the chronological order. I have no clue whatsoever why we are jumping back to season 1, episode 22, Hostage Crisis. But we will also be reading Hostage Crisis from, I guess, another viewpoint, which is the Clone Wars Stories from Light and Dark, which is a book that came out probably about 4 years ago. So we're going to be getting, I guess, probably the Clone Wars episode version of the story, and then also from the Clone Wars Stories of Light and Dark book version of the story. So that might be kind of neat. And then we're also going to be watching Clone Wars episode 9 of season 3, which is The Hunt for Zero, which I think is the extension of what we talked about tonight. Until then, John, thanks for drinking with me. Thanks for talking with me tonight. Good times.
Thank you.
Yep. And we will see you guys next time. Stay safe.
This is the 11 Parsecs Podcast, episode 39. If you enjoyed this podcast, please take a moment to subscribe and leave us a good review. And be sure to check us out at 11parsecs.com and Discord. I'm Jonathan Smith with Mr. Family Man, Eric Thompson. Thank you for joining us. I've been busy.